So now we're going to learn how to build websites with HTML and CSS. And we're actually going to start learning HTML first. And the first thing we're going to talk about is separation of concerns, I guess. I'm just figuring this out as we go. General game plan, and we have the entire course outline right here. This document of the course outline is 296 pages long. It's a large body of knowledge. That's the outline. It's 300 pages long. The outline. Oh, wow. Outline. Right? Holy cow. And you can find this entire course on greatercommons.com. Website I'm building. It should be up pretty soon. So go check that out. And So separation of concerns. HTML, when you build websites, you have HTML, you have CSS, and you have JavaScript. So somebody asked me about this question. I said, we'll get to it. We're getting to it right now. HTML is the structure of your document. CSS is the styling, the formatting of your document. And JavaScript is the functionality of your document. Okay? So I structure my document, the content, with HTML. I style it with CSS. And then if I want to have any kind of client-side interactivity, like, you know, does the password meet a certain length requirement or certain complexity, or is the second password entered match the first one entered, right? I could use JavaScript to check that on the client's browser before the code's even sent to the server. So that's the holy trinity of creating websites: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, when we build things with HTML, we're going to use a bunch of tags. They're also known as elements. So I'm just going to call them elements from this point forward. Try to, right? And so here is an HTML element reference. There's about 110 of them. So that's not that bad, right? But if we click on this HTML element reference, and whenever you search for anything about HTML or CSS, prefix your search with MDN. MDN stands for Mozilla Developer Network, MDN. And that's the go-to resource for documentation. Okay, it's the best source for documentation. MDN at this time. So Mozilla Developer Network. Mozilla is the company that created some browser, Firefox. And so MDN element reference, HTML element list. You come in here and you can see all of the elements. This is an anchor element. We use that, right, for creating hyperlinks. You get a little hover there, right? Okay, that's what that one's used for. And you could scroll down audio. Use this to put audio onto your web page. Oh, okay. This one's got a little warning thing, right? What's that warning? If we went and clicked on it, right, we could see non-standard. This features non-standards, not on standards tracks. Do not use it on production sites. Oh, okay. So it's got a warning, exclamation, which means don't use it. Trash can. This is obsolete and it's no longer guaranteed to work. Also don't use it, right? But here we have site, you know, and site is for element represents a reference to a creative work. Content. Why is there a thumb down on that? Well, let's go see. This is deprecated. API should no longer be used, but will probably still work. So you pay attention to those. This is experimental. You know, div, M for emphasis, which is italicizing something, and so that kind of stuff. So part of our work is just learning which elements we use to structure our content. So let me show you how that works. So we are working out of a repo with all of our code, and that is on GitHub, and you can find it on GitHub. It goes to 11. And we're going to look in GitHub repositories, username goes to 11, HTML, CSS, Bootcamp. And when you come here, do me a favor and star this. Mine says unstar because I've already started. But I want you to star it because then it'll bring it up and it'll put it up here on my main top level. 308, 108, 1.4 thousand, 240, right? We need that to get about 50 stars for it to show up here. So I need a bunch of people to star it so it just shows up on the front. Because this is older, Summer Boot Camp. Alright, so let's create an HTML page. And we'll do that right here in this directory. I'm going to create a new directory. It's going to be 003. And then inside that directory, you know, I could name this if I want, and I'm just going to rename it and call it first HTML page. And inside here, new, and I'll HTML index is a common name for if you have a single page or the main page for a website, call it index. And so there's index.html, and you could already see some HTML elements on there. So those are the basic elements for a web page. So at the top you have a doc type. It's a document type declaration, and that's telling browsers that receive this page, you're building a page which a web browser will then receive and render, turn into something that looks nice. You're telling the browser that the document type is HTML. That's what that doc type declaration at the top means. And then the HTML, the language is English. So you're also giving the browser a heads up. The language of this page is English. And then we have the head element and we have the body element. So the head element is like for information that you want to pass to the browser, but it's not going to be in the main body of the page. And so one of the head elements is title. And so title here, I could put in a title and I could call it my first page. And when I launch this, that's right there, my first page. That's where the title shows up. Well, that's cool. All right. And then I could also come down here to the body, and in the body I could start putting things. Like I could do a new element, h1, hello world. Okay. And now if I preview this, hello world. Sweet. My first page, hello world. So that's the start. And the main thing you want to notice here is that some of these tags, a lot of tags have opening and closing tags. So that the title begins here and it ends there. Okay, title begins here and ends there. So there's an opening element and a closing element. Or an opening tag and a closing tag. Better use tag there probably. Right? Opening tag and closing tag. Likewise, there's an opening tag and there's a closing tag, and everything in between is the head element. There's an opening tag and a closing tag, and everything in between is the body element. There's even an opening tag and a closing tag right here. There's my HTML. Right? So an HTML document has two main areas. Those two main areas are your body and then also your head. Right? Let me just break them apart here so it's a little bit more clear. So an HTML page has the body area and then also the head area. And then inside the body area, you put more stuff that you want to show up in the body of the page. And then in between title, you put the thing that you want up in the tab. Not too bad, right? That's pretty straightforward. So the rest of it is just learning what all those different elements do and how do we use them on the page. And then we're going to see how to style stuff. So in the next video, I'll show you how to do some basic styling.